Okay, we're gonna try this again since the first time I just got a phone call and it interrupted the recording. Yay! Anyways, so you guys didn't get a video yesterday, so you guys are actually gonna get 2 today. So I'm sorry about that. But here's what happened yesterday. So yesterday, my father asked if I could watch him, take care of him, because he had surgery, so he can't walk. So I was Nurse Jenn. Oh, I just burped Jamba Juice. Woo! Anyways. So I was Nurse Jenn, part 2. Everybody else was out of the house, and my dad's like, let's go to the movies. So we're like, sweet, you're taking me to the movies. Sounds good to me. So we went yesterday, and okay, back up a little bit. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock the night before. My phone is slipping, I think. Stay. Anyways, I had gone to bed at like 10 o'clock the night before, but then at like 1, no, it was later than 10 o'clock, but at like 1:30, for some reason, my body was like, wake up! And I was like, crap. So I was wide awake. And then in the morning, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take Mom some Jamba Juice. I'm going to go walk the trail. Because ever since Monday, I've been walking the trail we have here in town, the Santa Fe Trail, from my mother's office to Mooney, which is from there and back is... I want to say it's like 2.5 miles. Something like that. 2.5, 3 miles. Somewhere in there. I don't know the exact thing. It's 3... Nope, I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll tell you later. But anyways, so then yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm going to run. Maybe I'll get tired and I could take a nap. So I walked and ran it because, let's be honest, this may look like my Nike shirt. May look like I'm super fit. I'm not. So I would run a little bit and go, ha, 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 and walk, and then I would run a little bit. So I did that yesterday morning. I took my mother Jamba Juice, and this is all before 8 o'clock. And so by that time, I'm tired, but I still couldn't fall asleep. And then my dad's like, hey, let's go to a movie. And I said, okay, fine. Drove over to my dad's house about 10, 11 o'clock. No, I went over there at about 9, 9:30. And we hung out for a little bit, and we watched The Wiz, which, if you don't know what The Wiz is, it's basically the black version of The Wizard of Oz. And I like it because the music's super like, yeah, and jazzy and soulful, and it's great. So if you haven't watched it, I know Netflix has it, because that's what we watched it on. And then we went to go, the reason we watched The Wiz was we didn't own The Wizard of Oz, Netflix didn't have The Wizard of Oz, and we were going to see Oz the Great and Powerful, which we went to go see, and my dad liked it. It was an okay movie, and here's my reason why it was only okay. I don't have depth perception without my glasses on. I have a really bad, this eye, my right eye is really messed up. I'm nearsighted in this eye and farsighted in this eye, which this eye is almost 20/20, but I'm farsighted is better for me. So I don't have depth perception because of that, and when I was younger, the cornea got scratched off, so when it came back like not normal. So, can't really see very well out of this eye. So, I don't have depth perception. So, this is an accurate representation. You guys are watching this video on a flat screen. So, all you know is my hand's getting closer. Like, you can't see that it's actually getting closer. It's just getting bigger. And your brain is like, oh, it's getting closer. Well, when you are out looking at something and you're like looking at an orchard of trees, you physically can tell, oh, this tree is closer than this tree. To me, it's, oh, that tree is bigger than that tree. That is the only difference to me. Everything is 2D. So I have to base everything off of shadows and how big I know a normal size object is. Like if somebody's throwing a baseball at me, which I'm terrible, don't ever throw things at me. But if you're throwing a baseball at me, let's say a baseball is normally this big. Okay, well if the baseball they're throwing is only this big, I have to guess till it gets about this big before I try to attempt to reach out to catch it. If I'm terrible at catching. Anyways, back to the normal story. We had to watch it in 2D because A, I get motion sickness, and I have no depth perception because of my eye, and B, I get super motion sickness. I get it from my mother. I've never ridden a roller coaster. The closest thing I've come, I take that back. I rode a roller coaster once. I rode, what's that one in Disneyland? It's not California Screamin'. It's Space Mountain. I got violently ill. So the closest thing I can handle to a roller coaster would have to be Splash Mountain, which is my absolute favorite ride. But anyways, so I get motion sickness really easily. So with all, if you haven't seen The Great and Powerful Oz, I'm not going to give any plot things away. Okay, I'm merely going to talk about the camera right now. So I promise, if you haven't seen the movie, you don't have to stop the video. I'm not going to ruin the movie for you. Okay, so the main reason I didn't like The Great and Powerful Oz was I couldn't connect it to any of the other movies or plays that have come out. Like, or books for that matter, because I read the original Wizard of Oz. And the movie kind of follows it, the original movie, but then you have Wicked, the play, and the book, which you could kind of sort of tie in with the Wicked Witch's backstory. It kind of ties in. And then you have Son of a Witch I haven't read, so I don't know about that. But then Wizard of Oz 2, Return to Oz, that movie kind of tied in a little. There are a bunch of like, oh, these connected. With The Great and Powerful Oz, I could not really do that with any of the other Wizard of Oz movies. So that was one of the reasons I really didn't like it. The other reason I didn't really like it was because whoever was filming was a big fan of showing you flight sequences with not like, oh, look at this guy flying. It's like, oh, you're in this big storm. Blah. Oh, look, she's flying. Because it was filmed for 3D. Well, me, being motion sickness and can't see in 3D, that was totally lost on me, besides making me super ill. Because if you have ever watched a movie with me, which my best friend Hannah is big on making fun of this for, I don't just watch the movie, I'm like involved in the movie. So movies make me cry, like dance movies. If the dancing is beautiful enough, I will start to cry. If I'm watching an action movie, I literally physically am at the edge of my seat, like in dodging bullets and stuff, even in 2D. So me being thoroughly physically involved in this movie, I got sick and got a headache in the first opening scene, which if you've seen the movie, you know why. If you haven't seen the movie and you were going to see the movie, when you come out, you'll be like, oh, I get it now. Anyway, so the movie was only okay. My dad liked it a lot, which good for him, and if you've liked it, good for you. But in my opinion, it was only okay. So I probably wouldn't buy it, personally. I just wouldn't. So went and saw the movie. Then my father and I both got a text from my mother going, hey, I ran out of gas. So my mom had walked back to her office, or hitched a ride back to her office, and we had to go fill up the truck, which my dad was like, rah, about, because it's a diesel. Now, if you're a sweet, innocent young girl, I'm going to give you a little tip in case you're ever driving daddy's diesel, or if you're a boy and you're not really into mechanics or car stuff or anything like that. We were able to salvage the truck, but you are never, ever, 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 ever supposed to let a diesel truck run dry. Like, completely run out of gas, sputter, and go out. It's fine with a gas car because it's not going to hurt anything in the vehicle. But in a diesel, it can sincerely, like, really damage one of the fuel pumps, because there are two fuel pumps in a diesel truck. There's the lower fuel pump and the high fuel pump, and it pumps one and then pumps into another. If it goes in empty, it's pretty much like pumping air into your bloodstream. It'll give the car's heart a heart attack, and if you're not careful, it can sincerely damage everything. So if you drive a diesel and didn't know that, now you know. If you ever borrow anybody's diesel, check the fuel gauge. So there's that. Now you know. So we got my mom fixed up, got her truck back to her. And then when we went to go drop it off, she's like, hey, we got a call. People are going to come see the house today, because my parents' house, this is going to be a little longer than 10 minutes, but my parents' house is currently up for sale. So if you're looking for a house that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath on a 2-acre pomegranate tree farm in Lindsay, comment below. My parents are desperately looking right now. Well, they're not desperate. They found a house that they want to move into, but they can't buy it until they have a buyer on this house. So we're all crossing all of our fingers and all of our toes that they find a buyer, because I really want my parents to move to Tulare, because I like having my parents close. Well, closer to their jobs. It's just, financially better for everybody all the way around. So she's like, yeah, people are coming to see the house tonight. So Jennifer, if you could please clean the house, I'd really appreciate it. Which normally, fine, whatever. Pick up a couple dirty towels, clean the kitchen. But my little brother, both times that this has happened, this is the second time this has happened, where I have had to clean my parents' house because it's only been me and my father home, and well, he can't really walk, so it's just been me being the maid. My little brother, I'm gonna kill him the next time I see him because, well, I'm not actually gonna kill him, but I might hit him hard. His room was tore up from the floor up and dirty clothes, and I'm like, dude, I realize you're a teenage boy, but open a window, because it was not a good smell. So there's that. So then I had to clean the parents' house, and by this point I am exhausted. It's now 5:30 because my mom just got home, and I physically couldn't walk, so I really couldn't drive. So I had to sit down, and I ended up taking like a 10-minute nap was all my body would let me take, and I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Why? So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive home. If I feel myself falling asleep, I'll pull off and take a nap, but I gotta get home. So I said goodbye to my parents. I made it home, took all the back roads so I wouldn't, like, mess with other drivers with me driving slow. So, made it home. I actually made it home about 6:30, text my mom, I'm home, good night, and promptly passed out. And that was my day. And now you're all filled in on Thursday. And now I'm going to stop this video, and there'll be another one about Friday. Yay!